Okay, so we are now recording. Welcome everyone to June State TA Day. It's so good to see people's faces and to see people joining, and I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thursday and hope everyone is well. So we are going to start off with Christy Ressler to talk about large purchases regarding the stabilization grant guidelines. So Christy, if you are ready, you can go ahead and take it away.
Great, thanks, Lois. Hi, everybody. It's good to see all of you. I shared about large purchase requests last month, but wanted to go over it again with you. So first, I'm going to put a link in the chat for the website where you can find the large purchase requests. So there's that. And then I'm going to share my screen and walk you through where to find the guidance for large purchase requests, as well as the large purchase request form. Okay. So sorry, you had to see the big scroll. I meant to do that before. This is our Growing Forward website, and I'm on the Stabilization Grants page, which is the link that I shared with you in the chat. And so if you scroll down, you'll see some general information about our stabilization grants. And there are various, answers to questions. And then at the bottom, it says, have questions, need support. So it'll probably look like this when you first open up the page. And so you just click on that. And then we've got resources listed below. So our provider resources. And as you continue to scroll down, you'll see large purchase requests. I recommend reading through the guidance first, making sure that you understand what's allowable and what's not allowable. And then after that, you can click on the link to submit the request form. So that's where you find that. And then just a few reminders. The large purchase request form is only needed if providers have expenses, capital expenses that are more than $5,000. No major construction is allowable. So no moving walls, nothing that would need a roof or changing the purpose of a room. So keep that in mind. And then if the capital expenditure is more than $25,000, we are requiring 2 bids for those requests. Providers cannot spend more than the total amount of their grant awarded. So like for our home providers where their grants are a little bit smaller, they need to make sure that they're not requesting more than the total amount that they'll receive from the stabilization grants. And then minor improvements are allowable. So when it comes to using a contractor or something in the construction realm, we do need a copy of the permit pulled by the contractor, and we need a copy of the final inspection before payment is made. So I'm going to add these notes in the chat so you guys can grab them there, because I know that that was a lot of detailed information. I'll also put my email in the chat so that you can reach out to me if you have specific questions. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Christy. Oh, I think we have a question. Tiffany, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question?
So Christy, for that new provider success grant, do they need to reach out to Metrics, or does Metrics automatically reach out to them?
Okay, well, let's see. The new provider success grant applications have opened. So if they've received an email, they can just apply for those. If they haven't, like if they can't find it, or they haven't already applied or received an email about the application, then they can reach out to Metrics. We are working with both licensing and also our CCAP team to determine new providers that would be eligible for that grant. So more outreach about that grant is going to happen, but I know that they are open.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if that's the communication is happening from council sending them this information, or if Metrics sends that to them.
Oh, yeah, I would wait for the communication through Metrics because they've got their timeline and they know which providers they're reaching out to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. Thank you so much for your question, and thanks, Christy, for your presentation. We will include that information when we send out the recording later on after the meeting's all done. So next we have Lisa Matter to talk about EQIT. Lisa, are you ready to jump on?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm going to get my tab here. Let's make sure I get the right one. I want you to have the full screen. As you know, the EQ initiative is tasked with the big vision that every baby, every toddler, every family with a baby or a toddler, every caregiver, regardless of where they work, with their hands and hearts on someone's baby, is valued and thriving in a healthy relationship, because we know relationships are non-negotiable. For infants and toddlers, they're not going to thrive without a healthy relationship. So that's what we're always working for here. And we have a lot to celebrate as we look back on this fiscal year, both in terms of those goals that the EQ initiative holds, as well as, but most specifically, the work that your infant toddler specialists have been doing in your communities. I will just put in a plug now, and I'll put it in again. Please do get those coaching hours in. I'll sign that final invoice that you send to me before July 8th when I have your final coaching hours for the fiscal year. But what our big goals are, of course, are to ensure that everywhere that a baby is cared for, there is someone, a helper, an infant toddler specialist, wrapping around that caregiver. So we think of that as universal access to the EQ Infant Toddler Specialist Network. And that those infant toddler specialists, in turn, are responsibly implementing evidence-based training and coaching. Today, we're mostly going to talk about EQIT and its fidelity measures, but also the reach of EQIT and the reach of Lena Grow. You'll see that little X next to there. We did not get the FIND pilot off the ground this state fiscal year. Bless them, contracts has been a little busy this year, but we do hope to get that off the ground next year, and it is a PDG funded project, so we have time to finish it before the end of the PDG year. So I'm sharing with you the data from the third and fourth quarters, so from January through June. And we had 612 people enroll in EQIT courses across the state, 462 completed. That's fewer than usual, but more or less par for the course throughout the pandemic. 222% of those completers responded to our statewide fidelity survey. And just want to highlight a couple of things. This number went down. Fewer than 20 of actually the whole number of survey respondents went up compared to the last a couple of semesters. It kind of bulk these in 2-quarter groups. And so with that number going up, this number, fewer than 20 of the respondents said that they worked with ages other than infants and toddlers. Now, some people misuse EQIT as a qualification pathway. Remember, that's not what it's for. It's a quality improvement pathway. It is true that people earn qualifications as a result of the huge commitment they make to a 48-hour course. And it is an option for the requirements to meet that infant toddler program supervisor role, infant toddler early childhood teacher, family childcare licenses that allow you to serve more infants and toddlers. So the 302 license, the infant toddler home, and the experience license. Yes, it is one of the ways you can meet that requirement, but it's not for preschool teachers, for example. Because they're not serving infants and toddlers. So we think that the people who took the course, liked the course, benefited from it, and filled out the survey the reason that they liked it so much is because this is their calling and this is what they're doing. That said, 48 people, about almost a quarter, said that they joined the course because their director told them to. We think somewhat that reflects the reliance on this pathway for qualification, but also the value of the course, which again reflects the good work that your infant toddler specialists are doing across the state. 150 of those people said they were meeting ECT qualifications or infant nursery supervisor qualifications or director qualifications, or to upgrade a family child care license. There was also a shift in more people seeking EQIT who regarded themselves as directors. I don't know if that's because the infant teacher is the most flexible and able to hold the most complexity in mind, and so she became the director when there wasn't one available, or if there are just more directors that see that they would really like to understand infants and toddlers better. Not sure about the story behind that data. These are some of our favorite data points. 27%, about 12%, and this number went up by just 1 percentage point from on last semester, responded that they were thinking about quitting before they took EQIT, and it changed their mind. And that's when we're most proud of the work that your specialists do, because they engage in that same diathesis stress model that we know that children need. When they're in the most stress, they need the most support, and it's most likely to be supportive. 199 people indicated that EQIT strengthened their intent to stay in the field. So they weren't thinking about quitting, but they feel more committed to the field after completing the class. And that's another improvement of several percentage points over last year. And this one also improved. Some might say improve, some might say, ooh, that's a challenging data point. 25 people said they were looking for a different job now because they know what good care for infants and toddlers look like, meaning that the place that they're at, they realized didn't have the structural support, didn't have the facilitating conditions to ensure that infants and toddlers got their needs met. That's, it gives all of us something to do. And just as a reminder, the things that we're looking for in the EQIT class itself are those pieces of fidelity for the course. It's going to be adult learning friendly. The participants have to attend all the modules because it's interactive and participatory. And then we gather that consistent record keeping from you across the state. We're very close to getting it pretty consistent in PDIS. You may or may not know that everybody who ever has completed EQIT can now have that verified in PDIS and have it show up in their early childhood professional credential application. So we're pretty excited about that. If it's not showing up, I have all the records and I can find them. And that again is thanks to all of you for keeping those records and getting them to me the right way with the right names and the right email addresses every time. But you're going to see team teaching, 2 teachers, and that's a trauma-informed care strategy, and that's a adult learning strategy. They're going to be 3-hour modules. It's going to be a full 48 hours. And then you're going to see the replication of the curriculum. Central themes and agenda are going to be addressed every module. There's going to be interactive learning experiences. They're going to be reflecting on the relate reflections, and there'll be regular evaluations. And what I'm going to show you here is the fall and then the spring. And I'm actually just going to go through these really quickly because what you're going to see is they are doing an amazing job. Central themes and agenda, fall, spring. The scale is different, so it looks like it went down. As you see on the fall, it only goes up to 200, and on the spring goes up to 300 because there were more responses in the spring. Mostly interactive learning experiences in the fall, mostly interactive learning experiences in the spring. Again, excellent job. Relate reflections in the fall, relate reflections in the spring. Again, looks like it's going down, but what I want you to pay attention to is the size of that number 5 and the 4, and the 4 is agree and the 5 is strongly agree. My EQ and IT instructors asked me to fill out an evaluation in the fall and in the spring. Again, your instructors are consistently following the fidelity implementation of this model. There was one course that ran with 2 people, with only 1 instructor in the fall, and that's what those 5 responses are. Thank you, Gunnison Hinsdale, for carrying that off. But generally, everybody said, yep, my 2 instructors showed up every time, so we had that relationship space for someone to be facilitating while someone is holding the relationship spaces. I will send these out because I don't have time to read them all. But I just want to highlight this one in the middle. I loved, oops, let me go back to it. I loved this class. I learned so much. I didn't realize how important this job truly is. And that's the goal that we always want participants to walk away with, to know that they are valued for the work that they do. I would highly recommend it. You learn a lot and you become more human. Wow. your instructors are doing an excellent job. And this is reflected in one of the data. We asked them a question. I don't have the questions kind of cut off here. So I'm going to read the whole question to you. And it says, the relationships you have with children and families make all the difference in the world. We think that EQIT gives you a chance to have a relationship with your instructors and classmates so that you have better relationships with children. Tell us about your relationships before EQIT and after. And so that the red is at the end and the blue is at the beginning before I started EQIT. The options are I had no relationship with my instructors. I just knew who they were, and I have a good relationship with them. And we see that going the right way. And that was the fall there. And here's the spring. And again, the scale is a little bit bigger. This is the fall fiscal year data. I don't have, again, once you provide me with those final coaching hours at the end of this state fiscal year, and then I'll sign your last invoice, that we will update this. But I just want to highlight what a great job over the pandemic so far. These are just the people who received coaching that was 8 or more hours, which we know is an evidence-based amount of coaching that tends to shift practice. That your communities are doing a fantastic job. So the number of individuals, 15, it's probably 14 people. Some of these are just one. The little one is probably one person, and you can see these numbers are kind of going by the half an hour. So it's not surprising that there's one at these, but this is a lot of people who have received an evidence-based amount of coaching, and we'll look forward to seeing it from you, summarizing the coaching that you provided the rest of the year. But I also want to highlight just a couple of comments about the coaches. I gained more confidence. I felt more confident in my work. They helped me solve a problem. I gained so much. She was positive and helped me learn. I came up with ways to help a particular child in my class. And this last one I really loved. I learned a lot. I wish I had her coaching years ago. I've done daycare for 17 years, and she in this class and coaching would have been such a lifesaver. So just as we think about all those educators who are worrying and wondering, should I stay in the field? We're ending the year with not all of our EQ coaching spent. And you can go to those people who are serving infants and toddlers, regardless of whether they took EQIT, and provide them with coaching. It might make the difference in keeping someone in the field who is working with the most important children in your communities, the babies. So thank you for keeping up such good work in your communities despite everything. We'll send these out, and I will send them to Lilith so that she can pass them along to you. Of course, any questions? I'll be here for a few more minutes.
Thank you, Lisa, for that update, and thank you to both coaches. And if anyone does have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or if you want to raise your hand. Not seeing any questions at the moment. So yes, thank you, Lisa. You'll send those to me. We'll get them out with the recording. And next is Kristen Lang to do the PDG updates. Kristen, if you're ready.
I am. Thanks, Lilith. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thursday. My name is Kristen Lang. I'm the Program Access Manager for the Preschool Development Grant Unit at the office. I'm going to share my screen here. And let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. There we go. Okay. So I will, I've sent these slides to Lilith, so she'll send them to you in follow-up because there are a lot of links embedded as usual. I'll keep this very quick today, but wanted to begin updates with just a heads up that our Preschool Development Grant Collaboration Coordination Mini Grant, the second round of funding for that opportunity is going to be released soon. So just to remind you all, this is up to $10,000. The second round of grantees will have from October 2022 to May 2023 to partner with other local organizations in their communities in order to develop a plan to implement a coordination strategy or strategies that improve access to programming in the birth to 5 space in your community. So this is a grant that is all about planning. It can support a bit of implementation if that seems feasible, but otherwise it's really about that intentional planning and partnering in your community. the grant information application details are going to go through our Colorado vendor self-service. We're hoping to award around 10 communities this round. And because that overall amount then of 100,000 puts us at a place where we can't just do a regular application, we have to go through the procurement process. But we've made the application as simple as possible. So please make sure to check the Colorado Vendor Self-Service website. Hopefully you've seen the announcement information. You can keyword search for collaboration or coordination, and it should come up. We expect it to post soon in the next week or so, although we don't know exactly when that's going to happen. But please keep an eye on that opportunity. We had 4 councils in the first round, so Teller Park, Larimer, ECPAC, and Boulder. I hope they all had a positive experience. I think they did really incredible work, intentional planning. So keep an eye out for that vendor self-service opportunity. And then I wanted to just give a quick update on the childcare business training and consultation strategy. This slide, we have on here every time. We're excited that Larimer has officially joined the list of communities that are engaging in this partnership between small business development centers and councils to offer free business training and consultation to providers. Similar to Lisa, just wanted to elevate, these are some quotes from a few of our recent participants in the training. So providers are finding this really valuable. I know we've shared data with you previously that shows they're indicating a statistically significant increase in their knowledge around business practices. So definitely would encourage you to promote these 2 upcoming opportunities to providers in your community. These are all virtual, so although they may primarily be providers in the particular region where the Small Business Development Center and Council who are working together it can include providers from across the state. And I wanted to mention, because this started as PDG funding but is now becoming supported through stimulus funding, these training opportunities are also updated on the OEC stimulus site. So please share with providers in your community, reach out to me with any questions, and I will stop there. Thank you, Lilith. And thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Kristen, for that update. And yes, I got your information. We'll attach it with the recording that goes out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand or put them in the chat and we'll get them answered. I'm not seeing any questions, but thank you, Kristen. Thank you so much. Next, we have Bonnie Roos Caputo, and she is talking about E&E moving forward. And Bonnie, I really apologize if I did not get the pronunciation of your name correct.
No worries. It's Rouse, like mouse, but with an R. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Thank you.
So, hi, everyone. Couple of E&E updates. Mostly we're going to talk about this next upcoming round, but I just wanted to give you all a quick reminder. This current round that we're in is done in 1 week. Yay. So just a reminder, all work needs to be completed by June 30th. Licensing needs to be done. If you're ordering supplies, like they need to be on hand by June 30th. So just like make sure you're keeping an eye on that. Next round. So we are working on putting together your budgets and sending out contract documents. It'll probably happen in the next couple of weeks. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up on that. Keep an eye out. Our goal is to have these contracts executed probably early fall. So we just, like I said, our contract team, they're very busy right now. We just want to get working on that now. I also wanted to thank you all. I know a lot of you provided feedback on the documents Karen sent out last month. So we're going to go back through all of those, make any adjustments. We'll send them back out for another round of feedback so we can make any adjustments we need to before anything is finalized. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on where we are at with that. And yeah, I guess my updates were quicker than I thought. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Bonnie, for that. And if anyone does have any questions, again, feel free to raise your hand, put it in the chat. We have quite a bit of time today. Oh, we have a question. Do we have an idea on award amounts for E&E?
So for those, we're putting them together, like I said, right now. So when we send out those contract documents, we'll be sending your budget allocation and what those award amounts will look like. And it will still be called E&E, yes.
And then quick question, licensing needs to be done. We have one site that's still in the process and it doesn't sound like it will be official until after the 30th.
Send me an email with all the details and we can go through it. And if there's any other instances like that, let me know as soon as possible. So we can figure out the best course of action.
Great. Awesome. And then the email, do you want that just to your email, Bonnie? And if so, we can send that out with the recording as well.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the chat right now also.
Perfect. And I think next Lisa had her hand up.
Thanks. I just wanted to clarify. It almost sounds like the way the E&E will be awarded this next time will be more locally, or are you going to do it exactly the same way that it was before, where it's done at a high level and then they're manually awarded in the system for us to support the
So it should
funding
be,
sent out?
yeah, it should be similar to the way this
Okay,
went.
perfect.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Oops. And another, oh, there we go. Bonnie put her email in the chat. And so our next presenter is actually Angela to talk about the federal stimulus and introduction to apprenticeship manager, but I don't believe that she is on the call right now. I think that is a closer to 2 presentation. And we did not have a very jam-packed schedule for once. And so we have a little bit of time right now. So if anyone has other questions related to the presentations already brought up, or, you know, possible, and Lisa, you have your hand raised, go ahead.
I'll step into that gap. I had a note to myself, which I forgot to say, which is, I said, yes, please get your invoicing in. But my other request was, I still only have EQIT course schedules from now, I think 12 of the 24 of you. So we're 50% there. I know it says in your statement of work, you'll get them to me in July because it's technically a requirement of the next fiscal year. But boy, people are really banging down my door to find out when the next EQIT class is. I've got about 120 people on the statewide waiting list who are, I named that list, needs EQIT ASAP. So if you think maybe you sent it, but you're not sure, send it again. If you are hearing this and going, wait, I don't know if we sent it, send it again. If you need the form, it should be titled SFY 23 EQ-C for courses. If you need the form again, happy to send it again. But the sooner I have those, the sooner I can publish those schedules for the virtual classes that are being held, and then also get your funding to you as soon as possible in the beginning of the new fiscal year. Since it is overall such a tiny bucket of money, we have to get all of it as lined up as well as we can at the beginning. And related to that, this year's fiscal year is not quite all the way spent down. I did send out a little note of things that you might, without any further approval, use your fees for. If you took in EQIT fees, remember those can only be spent on the same things that the EQIT funds from our office can be spent on, because otherwise we'd have to report it. If it was funding other things, it's not an enterprise fund in that way. But things for the new curriculum that will be updated, one of the points that I made in there was, if you want to buy materials for a brain architecture game, that will be embedded into the curriculum, so you may want to do that. And reach out to me if you have any specific requests. So maybe that gave Angela some time to pop over.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for more of that information, Lisa. And we are just kind of seeing if Angela is jumping on here in the next couple of minutes. Let's see. Hi, Angela.
Hi, everybody.
We did not have a full schedule, so we had important updates, but they were very quick, and we are very much on time. And so if you are ready and wish to share some of your presentation, then we would love to hear it.
I do. Let me get my screen queued up. I did have plans to have everybody meet our new apprenticeship manager. I think most folks on the call are probably familiar with Jessica Burnett Knight. She's on another call right now, so I'm trying to see if she can also jump over and say a quick hello. So we'll see if we can have her jump on soon. So let me get my presentation up. All right, so I'm going to start kind of in the middle. I know everyone is pretty familiar with my update deck at this point, so I'll skip through the visuals and jump to just a couple of quick implementation updates that we're really excited about. And just to give you all some counts on registration at this point related to a lot of our workforce strategies. So as folks know, we have been recruiting for the sustainability grants and getting the word out for that. And I think we have now approached about 90% of licensed childcare providers that have applied and started receiving our sustainability grants. And we're really excited about the opportunity to really collect data on the workforce side of things. So of course, the operational side is really important as well. But for a lot of our learnings, we've been collecting information on open positions across the state, workforce wages, benefits offered, and just so many really cool things that we did not have access to in the past. And I think that's going to be really important as we get closer to launching the compensation task force in the next couple of months. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. So just know that this is some baseline data that's just going to be really helpful in project design in the future. So we're actually already using some of it to talk about the CCAP salary increase project. So I'm going to skip to activity 3 for a second, just to share a little bit about where we're at. Because the CCAP salary increase one has been the one that's kind of continued to be pushed a little, back every couple of months. And the reason why I say that is because we haven't taken this program lightly. This is a really important moment to have a compensation pilot happen in the context of the new department and everything that's happening with UBK rate setting, an opportunity to think about CCAP rate setting in the future. In Senate Bill or in House Bill 1295, it mandated us to think about moving from a market rate to a cost of quality, and cost of quality includes compensation, in our opinion. So thinking about all of those things that are being considered at the moment, we're really excited about this. And so what we've talked about is maybe moving from that original idea around like a 3% increase to making it a smaller pilot and really working on increasing wages to a livable wage rate. So there's more to come on that. That's a little bit of a teaser as we're still figuring out the nuance, the number of programs and number of people we'd be able to include at that conceptual level. And so we're hopeful that we'll be able to launch the application by the end of next month. So I know that's another delay announcement, but wanted you to know that this is a really serious design opportunity. And that's why we've actually kind of pushed it off, because we're thinking about taking it in a different direction that I think will be a really impactful and a really bold move to try this livable wage concept out and how that would affect rate setting. So more to come.
But just know like the sustainability grant data collection has been really helpful for us to really bring this concept to life, and also being really cognizant about the bad effects that could happen if we go at rates that are too low, because that would put a lot of our early childhood workforce over the benefits cliff, and we don't want to negatively impact people's personal situation. So we know there's a delicate balance when we're talking about compensation. And then I'll talk in a few minutes again about that compensation task force, because we want all of you to know about the opportunity to participate and also be able to help spread the word to communities on what that looks like. So more on that in just a minute. Rolling back up to activity 2, we just closed our first round of loan forgiveness applications last week, and we got over 1,000 applications for the loan forgiveness program. And so that is, again, an incredible demand. We only have awards for 100 people within the early childhood teaching workforce and 50 people within the early childhood mental health workforce. But one of the really awesome opportunities for everyone else who is in the applicant pool that may not get selected is that we have intensive loan counseling that will be offered to everybody. We have an opportunity up to 3,000. So we're talking about another opportunity to open that back up for folks that are interested in the loan counseling. And with the loan counseling, they'll be talking about loan consolidation, giving tips on income-based repayment. We know people are generally set up for that, but when you're in, if you have a spouse or a partner that has income, there are opportunities to just do it off of a single income for your repayment rates, stuff like that. There's some tips and tricks that can help people get more educated on what their options are financially. And then also we've gathered tools on public service loan forgiveness, and just again, raising awareness on what people are eligible for and how they can take advantage of that, or how they can calculate out when they might be eligible for something like that. So a really great suite of opportunities. So even if we're not able to fund everybody, there will be more rounds in the future. And then we also have that loan counseling option to support people. So really exciting. We are going to get more information out on that soon. We'll have additional rounds for the actual loan forgiveness repayment in 2023 and 2024. The vendor on this actually can make payments on a monthly rate so that it counts towards your requirement for that public service loan forgiveness. So it's not going to be a lump sum for candidates. But again, just keeping them on track for all of the options to maximize their loan forgiveness opportunities. As I would assume, unfortunately, that people have more than $5,000 in student debt, and that's the threshold we're able to fund at this point. And then in our additional rounds in the future, we will also be funding other positions within the early childhood workforce as mandated in Senate Bill 22-213. So we have opportunities to fund home visitors, early intervention, we'll continue funding early childhood mental health. So it's really exciting to include those. And then we're hopeful that we can be able to include more directors and more of our early childhood field in general and loan forgiveness in the future rounds. So again, more to come on loan forgiveness, but just a really exciting and successful first round, knowing that our workforce is somewhere around 20,000 at the moment, and we had over 1,000 applicants. We are hitting a really great threshold, and knowing that not all of them are carrying student loan debt, I feel like that's a really great first round, and we'll have more tools in the future and more time now that we've gotten one round of experience under our belts. We'll be able to get out the word more and spread this opportunity in the next couple of years as well. So again, thank you for all of your support in getting the word out on that. We know that was a tight timeline on lifting that one up for the first time. And again, I appreciate everyone's willingness to learn with us as we're trying all of these strategies out for the first time. Scrolling down to 101 and 103, just really exciting announcements on just kind of final numbers that have come through for fall 2021 and spring 2022. We've been talking about this a little bit actually today in the ECLC meeting. We generally forecasted for about 1,000 to 1,500 individuals completing the coursework during this school year, and we had 2,500 people complete the coursework in this time period. So just blew our kind of expectations out of the water in a really good way. And we're really excited to know that those folks are going to be able to move through and move into positions pretty quickly in the early childhood field. So again, just a tremendous success, and we're really excited to have all of your support and helping people get registered. And again, finding efficiencies for future semesters to make sure that we're getting everyone access to this. That we're considering if students have a CDA, helping them with the prior learning assessment so that they don't have to retake ECE 101 and that they can kind of skip through to other opportunities. They would still be able to do 103 and then maybe go on to a scholarship opportunity out of Activity 2, maybe go for their infant toddler supervisor, director certificate, an AA, BA, or kind of the rest of the gamut that we have funded through that. Or they could apply into apprenticeships or for a Teach Scholarship on that work-based learning side of things. So once they're employed, they have opportunities to submit for some of our other scholarship opportunities. So everything's kind of in play finally. It's been a long wait to really have all of these strategies live. So just know, like, now is that opportunity where we can start that stepping stone process. Those pathways are being supported kind of from start to finish if folks are able to engage. And if you're seeing that folks are having barriers to entering any one of these or challenges to complete, I would love to hear more about that because, I think we still have a little bit of funding set aside to continue identifying opportunities to support the workforce, and also just working with our vendors to maybe course correct. So if it's an application concern or something else, we definitely want to take a continuous quality improvement approach to this. So just kind of act as if things are in pencil and kind of give us feedback, and we can continue to write and rewrite to help accommodate if there are challenges that are occurring. So just, again, want to always put that out on the table. The next thing is, again, I don't know, to check. I didn't see if Jessica popped in yet. We're really excited. No, she's not in yet. So hopefully she can come in the next couple of minutes. I'll keep kind of filling some space with updates until she is able to. The apprenticeship program, we're excited to finally share our additional 2 partners. So Red Rocks Community College is, they've been an outstanding partner on the apprenticeship front. They've been a leader in this space for years. And so we're really excited to be able to fund that program to expand it to more counties across the state. And there are veterans that are going to be supportive of bringing on 2 additional partners in the state, and again, continuing to provide that experienced guidance in this area. And so Red Rocks will continue supporting communities, so feel free to reach out. They have funding for about 100 apprentices across the state. And so, they're the intermediary and are willing and able to get childcare programs signed up and get the apprentices onboarded with funding for their professional development. And things of that nature. And so they were able to give, again, a presentation today at ECLC with us, as well as our 2 new partners that aren't quite under contract yet, but we're in progress and should be fully under contract by July, end of July. And so our partners are now coming through from the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and they're going to be really focused on a BA model, with transfer students from their local community colleges, and then Colorado Mesa University, and they're co-located with Western Colorado Community College as well. And they're going to be focusing on concurrent enrollment along with general apprenticeship approaches as well. So CDA and college coursework included there as well. So it's just really exciting to see this spectrum of apprenticeship programs emerging and giving us a chance to really test opportunities in all these situations. So concurrent enrollment being an area of interest. We're looking at maybe pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities for family childcare, trying to figure out how that would fit within the federally registered apprenticeship guidelines. So it may be called pre-apprenticeship, but it would be very similar in nature. So again, just trying to make sure that we're fitting all of the federal guidelines as part of this apprenticeship modeling, and really working to support our workforce in really creative ways. So more to come on apprenticeships. We're really excited to lift these off. And Jessica will be here to help build capacity on supporting work-based learning models, and in that it will include Teach and CDA as well. So really looking at the similarities between these projects and opportunities to award scholarships in really supportive ways that are supportive of not just the professional, but of the childcare program as well. So again, more to come on that. And again, I haven't seen a new person join, so I will just keep going and have Jessica give an update in just a second when she's on. Just a quick update on the teacher peer mentorship training specialist front. So I think we had shared at the last meeting that Connie Haberman has joined us back in April, and the curriculum is currently under development. So we're expecting to launch that pilot program by the end of summer, which will be really exciting. So I'm sure she'll be back here next month to share a little bit more about recruitment, but wanted to put that on your radar as something that we're hoping to launch probably in August as that first cohort comes on board. And then that'll be probably a pretty small cohort, under 20 people being trained in that first one. And then we'll continue to work on lifting off additional cohorts and expanding that over the course of the next 2 years. So know that that one's not going to be like a super tight timeline to get people involved, as there will be additional rounds soon after. So again, more to come on teacher peer mentorship, but we're really excited about the progress that we're making there. And as a reminder, she's going to be able to create the curriculum in English and in Spanish. And so we'll talk a little bit more during that recruitment phase of which curriculum she's going to be using and who she's recruiting for those time periods. But know that it is coming in 2 languages and very soon. Yes, really exciting. And then from there, the Teach scholarships, again, they're underway with recruitment. We've had over 55 people be awarded Teach scholarships, and it's a continuously open application. So folks are able to apply for summer semester if things haven't already started. If they already started in some summer semester coursework, they're still able to kind of retroactively get awarded for this semester. And then again, we'll be allowing for fall applications as well if people have coursework planned for the future. So feel free to reach out to ECLA or just click through these links on this slide when we're able to send these out and the application is live and available. Similar to that, the CDA scholarship is continuously open, and then we have different review time periods throughout the year. So there are 3 review time periods, but they will continuously receive applications, so folks can kind of apply when it's on the mind, and then it would be, that next deadline would be the opportunity for when they would hear back on if they were accepted into the program. And so our next one will be coming up at the end of summer. So again, knowing that there's some programs that might be on the school year, this is a good opportunity to just keep that in the back of your mind for late summer opportunities to apply. And then I don't have any big updates on the PDIS front, so I kind of skipped over those ones. But just know the coursework is being developed for PDIS, and we're really excited about a lot of the progress on those. And I know, Jen McDonald will likely be able to give us an update probably early next year on when some of these courses will be published on the website. So really exciting stuff. And I'm sure folks are pretty excited, or I hope folks are pretty excited that Circle Grants, the announcements to programs came out last Thursday and Friday. It was an extremely competitive process. Again, just blew us out of the water on what to expect in terms of applications. We had over 750 applications worth about $166 million in projects, and we only had about $23 million to award. So extremely competitive. We had to be really careful about what were allowable opportunities under this. So unfortunately, construction is not one of those things that was approved under our federal funding and things of that nature. So there was some reasoning behind some of that. The good thing is Senate Bill 22-213 was passed at the end of the legislative session. So we will have additional rounds of capital funding, which I imagine some other presenters were able to chat about today or will be in the near future. We're adding capacity to support on some of those as well. So more to come on some of that. But yes, so Circle Grant awardees were notified. They have a few weeks to go under contract. And then we'll go back to kind of the decision-making board. And if there's any additional funding available, we might have a provider-specific third round. So a little teaser there, that there might still be some room for additional program level projects. And again, I like to drop those little teasers just so you know what might be coming down the pike over the next couple of months. Let's see. So this is just a good recap on Senate Bill 22-213 if folks aren't aware of everything that was included in that bill since it was just passed at the end of May. Our employer-based child care grants, so those are for the non-child care employers to be able to add child care on site to their businesses, whether it's a community college or a city government or even, manufacturer, any type of business that's interested in creating childcare to support their workforce. And this is an additional $10 million. And we had originally $8.8 million. We just closed the second round last week. We had 14 applications from across the state that we're reviewing currently and hope to award in July. So this is an additional 10 million, which means we'll have at least probably 2 more cohorts of that employer-based childcare project over the next couple of years. Again, similar to that, the emerging and expanding grant program, since there was again, overwhelming support and interest in this funding. We had $8.8 million originally as well, and now have an additional $16 million that we'll be able to fund in the future. And then because of all of those capital funding streams, again, we know that there's already a lot of pressure on our workforce in recovering from the pandemic, preparing for universal preschool, and then opening even more new sites. And so we requested additional funding to support our recruitment and retention initiatives, as what we've already talked about is a really robust portfolio, but we're still concerned that because a lot of these are high cost opportunities, that we would still need more funding to ensure that if we have several thousand slots being built in the future, that we want to make sure that we're training the workforce over the next couple of years to prepare for that. So we'll have an additional $15 million in scholarship and loan forgiveness opportunities across several of our recruitment and retention strategies. And $5 million of that will be dedicated to our supportive workforce. So again, home visitors, ECMH consultants, early intervention, and ensuring that we have a really well-rounded early childhood workforce to support children and families. So not everything will just be teaching centric. So really exciting there. And then there's additional funding to create FFN advisory committees across the councils across the state and support some training programs to support FFN providers, as well as create some opportunities for FFN providers to move into licensing as well. So of course not required, but it will be a kind of like a bridge program to help providers think about what their options are in terms of becoming licensed. And then expanding access to home visiting programs was also included in this. So it was a pretty robust bill that, again, really well-rounded to help meet the workforce where it's at, to help meet families where they're at, and to help continue working on recovering from the pandemic, if we can even call it that yet. I feel like, with this new round that we're still very much in it. And I don't know that we can predict when's kind of the next wave or that type of thing. Let's see, my slide deck seems to have frozen. So earlier today, I actually was able again to present most of my similar deck that you've all seen at the ECLC meeting. And so I'm not going to go through our partner slides. I won't be able to do them justice on our 3 apprenticeship partners, but I felt like, we were sending out those slides as part of the ECLC deck. And so I thought you might all want to be able to browse through kind of some of the concepts that are shared in these. So I will pass these on to the QRS coordinator team to send out. Again, so you can kind of see who the candidates are that are being targeted for these opportunities and kind of what communities they're working with. So as I mentioned, UCCS is thinking about a BA model, and they're recruiting from their local community colleges. So, you can browse through these in your time just to kind of get familiarized with some of these. So that is a really exciting moment. And then I'm going to skip through to our workforce plan slides because that was the other kind of cliffhanger that I had mentioned. I don't know if I've had a chance to give a kind of a quick overview on this slide before, so I spend a couple minutes doing that. Lilith, I saw your face changed. Is there something?
Nope, just my face making faces. No, I was I had a thought and I was looking at your thing and the two faces collided. We don't have any thing else scheduled for after this. Possibly Q&A if people do have questions. So if you want to present, you don't have anyone waiting to present. So
Awesome. Then I will keep going on the workforce plan and the compensation task force, again, to give people, if you haven't had a chance to hear this spiel, some sense of what's coming over the next couple of months. And again, just starting to think about how you might engage or how you might help programs engage in some of our next steps of things. So last summer, as we were planning for all of our American Rescue Plan and CRSA funding, one of the mandates or opportunities within stimulus was to think about supply building and capacity building across the state. And realizing, there's so much context that has changed since we wrote the initial Early Childhood Workforce 2020 plan, that we had put in a request for funding to do a report out on the accomplishments that we've made, the steps forward that we've taken, such as, relaunching PDIS and rescoring the professional credential and things of that nature. So creating a report, say, here's where we're at, and then using that as a stepping stone to refresh it and create a new one, moving into the new department, thinking about pandemic recovery, planning for universal preschool. How are we going to balance and grow the infant and toddler workforce at the same time as growing the UPK workforce, and things of that nature. And so we had originally had funding available for that. And then in the bill for the new department, House Bill 22-1295, it mandated that we create a workforce plan for the new department. And so those are well aligned. And so we put together this slide so that folks understood that we see those plans as one and the same. So we'll be building off of what we've learned from implementing the Workforce 2020 plan and figure out where we need to take that. But we'll meet all of the requirements that are noted within 1295, including the creation of a strategic plan for UPK as part of that. So we'll be adopting some of those plans into the workforce plan for the new department. So there will be some UPK specific things. There will be overall workforce specific things. And then as we've been listening and working through some of our PDG strategies, we've had this big consultative roles group that has been really focused on collaborative learning across, coaching, early childhood mental health, child care health consultants, and a number of other supportive workforce areas. And so again, we intend to include all of those components of the workforce in the new department workforce plan. And some of it may be that we need more data collection or other things. So these are going to be a really collaborative process to include all of those components of the workforce as well as the direct teaching workforce. And we're really excited about that. All that said is we also know compensation, as I was mentioning earlier, is a big component of our workforce retention and recruitment opportunities, frankly. So there will be a separate process that we're going to be undertaking to really target compensation as an area of opportunity. And so we're actually going to be soliciting for a partner to do a national landscape analysis on compensation strategies for both early childhood as well as related industries, and kind of give us a report back on what the opportunities are, as well as conducting actual task force opportunities. So they would be facilitating work group meetings to work through some of the challenges on access to benefits, on raising wages, on things of that nature, and of course, the whole spectrum of compensation, wellness opportunities, the whole kind of gamut. So again, we'll be recruiting for task force members for the compensation specific area later this summer. And then we expect to have a contract for the overall workforce plan. So there'll be 2 contracts that we're doing as part of this project. And so for the workforce plan, we expect to have an agreement for that later this summer. So they would be kicking off probably both late summer. And again, we're going to be looking for steering committee members from a diverse spectrum of positions and geographic areas to make sure that we have representation for all of this work. So both between workforce plan and compensation task force. So a lot to come. I'm sorry if this is duplicative. I know we've given this presentation a couple of times, but we want to make sure people are aware of what's coming. And so again, also give you opportunities to ask questions. So I will stop there. I think I saw some action in the chat and see if I missed anything. And I did see that Jessica joined. So I'm going to do questions first, just since we're in context. Let's see, do we have a central job board? And it looks like Lisa mentioned, yeah. So Healthy Childcare Colorado was able to launch a job board kind of early in the pandemic when we had furloughed folks, some programs staying open, people having to leave the workforce for a number of reasons. And so that's been one of the major areas that folks have been able to post jobs. I'm not sure if any others emerge, but that Healthy Childcare Colorado job board is the most central one that I'm aware of. And I don't see anything else. So does anyone have any additional questions on stimulus implementation at the moment or the workforce planning processes that are coming? I'm not seeing a ton. So I'm going to have Jessica come off and just say a quick hello. And Jessica, we're closing out the meeting. So no worries on time.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. Sorry, I'm anything else you want me to say?
No, I know you missed I gave a spiel about all the apprenticeship programs and being able to present today at ECLC, and that I would share all of the slides with them so they can peruse them. Yeah, but just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that you joined the team.
Yes.
And that we're really excited to have additional capacity on these workforce opportunities.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to this work. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so everyone will see Jessica around. I'll put both of our emails in the chat. So you'll have Jessica's new email here with us at OEC, soon to be CDEC. I'm going to probably mess that one up for a while to come, but thanks for letting us take some extra time at the end of your meeting today.
Of course. Thank you, Angela. Thank you so much for that very robust filling in of all of these new opportunities coming. I'm very excited for all of this. And Jessica, again, wonderful to see you. I'm glad you could jump on. We don't have any other presenters scheduled, so I kind of have two options. We could do just kind of a quick Q&A if people have really pressing questions about any of the materials presented today, or any other kind of QRIS related questions, or I could give you back almost 30 minutes in your day. So, you know, if people want to take just a second to think of any pressing questions, or like I said, if you've got anything from this meeting that you want a little bit more clarification on, if we can, but otherwise, you know, I think if people have got busy days and lots of things to get to and time to absorb all of this amazing information, I'd be just as happy giving you all back your time as well. All right, so I'm not seeing any questions. So I think we'll go ahead and call it. That was a great June State TA Day. We had great timing for all of our presenters. And again, thank you so much to everyone who presented, and Angela for giving us even more of that information on your topic matter, and Lisa stepping in a little bit to help us as well as we covered some of that time. And we'll go ahead and get this recording wrapped up and all of that information out, emailed to you in the next, we'll be soon, probably coming weeks. So thank you so much. It's good to see you all, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you all.
Bye.